Hello, I'm going to be going over the examples for rational numbers. So here we have equivalent rational numbers can be found by multiplying or dividing both numerator and denominator by the same value. So we're just going to make an equivalent rational number from here. So let's say we just multiply this by 2. So we're going to multiply -5 here by 2, so just times 2. And if you multiply the top by 2, then you're also going to multiply the denominator also by the same amount. So you multiply the bottom by 2. So here we're going to get -10, and then 16. So that's just saying that these two are equivalent to each other. And then over here, instead of multiplying, we can actually divide instead. So let's say we want to divide by 2. Also divide the bottom by 2 as well. So 18 divided by 2, you get 9. And then down here, you can get -12. And then over here, again, -12 over 9. We can do another division. Let's say we'll divide by 3 here. So we'll divide the top by 3, divide the bottom by 3 as well. So you'll get -4 over 3. Just a quick note, the negative sign here at the in between 12 and 9, the negative sign at the 24, and the negative sign at the 5, it means that the whole fraction is negative, even though it's on one number or the other, or in the center, the entire fraction is still negative. So as we move on to the next examples, so we're just going to simplify the following. So here you have -1 over 2 plus 2 over 5. We're going to need to make these the same denominators. So a common multiple for 2 and 5 would be 10. So to get the 10, you're going to multiply it by 5. So 5 times -1 will give you -5 over 10. So we're just multiplying this by 5. We're also going to multiply the bottom by 5. And then for the other one, for 5 to get the 10, we're going to multiply these by 2. So we get the same denominator. So you're going to get 4 over 10. And then this, when we add it together, -5 plus +4, you're going to get -1 over 10. From here, again, we're going to take a look at -9 over 5, subtract -1 over 6. So before we actually do our common denominator, we're going to deal with the negative sign first, because two negatives make up a positive. So the negative sign over here, you can think of it as multiplying this by -1. So instead of a negative, it's actually going to become positive 1 over 6. So now if we're going to make the same denominator, for 5 to get the same denominator as 6, a common multiple would be 30. So to get to 30, we can multiply this by 6. And then we can multiply this side by 5. So again, when I write these multiply signs here, I want to multiply the top by 6 and the bottom by 6. And then for the other one, I'm going to multiply the top by 5 and the bottom by 5. So 9 times 6 is 54. It's -54 over 30. And then you're going to add 5 over 30. And this is going to get you to -49 over 30. Or you can write this as a mixed fraction. So the right answer mixed fraction, how many times can 30 go into 49 evenly? You can go into it once. Then simply take away the remainder off of 49. So it's going to be 19 over 30. Alright, from the bottom here, we have 7 over -2. And then we have the mixed fraction. So I'm actually going to deal with the mixed fraction first, so we can have fractions. It should be a little easier to deal with. So in this case, 3 times 1 and then plus 1. So that's actually -4 over 3. So now get a common multiple. 6 would be a common multiple for the top and the bottom. So we can just multiply this side by 3, multiply this by 2. So again, we're multiplying the numerator and the denominator. So we have to get 21 over 6. Negative 21 over 6. And we're going to add. In this case, it would be negative 8, 6. In total, we're going to get negative 29 over 6. That is 9. Okay, so now we're going to D. So from here, again, we're going to change the mixed fraction into a improper fraction. So 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So it's actually 9 over 4 plus, I get negative 4 over 5. And then we're going to deal with the 2 negative signs here. This becomes positive 1/2. Alright, so we want to try to get to a common multiple between all 3 numbers. A common multiple between 4, 5, and 2 would be 20. So to get to 20, we're going to multiply this side by 5. We're going to multiply the middle by 4. And then we're going to multiply this by 10. So 5 times 9 gives you 45 over 20. And then you're going to add negative 16 over 20. And then add 10 over 20. So from here, 45 plus negative 16 gives you 29, and then plus 10 gives you 39, so you get 39 over 20. Alright, so now we're going to move on to nice examples. So we're going to simplify these now. So during this time in our notes, it was talking about the multiplication process. So when you multiply numbers and fractions, you're going to multiply the numerator by numerator and denominator by denominator. 2 here actually has an imaginary 1. All whole numbers have an imaginary 1 at the bottom as a denominator. So equals, so if you have 2 over 1, so 2 times negative 6, so this would give you negative 8, and over 24, because 1 times 24 is 24, and then you can actually reduce this, because you can divide it by 8, so this would be negative 1, 8 divided by 24 should give you 3. Should we go like that? Alright. Oh, my mistake. It was not 4, it was 6. So I'm actually just going to erase this. My apologies. So it's actually 12. So 2 times 6 is 12. It's negative 12. So again, we can reduce this. So we want negative 1/2. Alright. For the next one, we have another mixed fraction. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1 is 25. So we're going to get negative 25 over 8. then the other side is 4 over 5. So you multiply numerator by numerator, you get negative 100. The denominator would be 40. And then we can actually reduce this. We just divide by 20, so you get negative 5 over 2. Alright, and in our last examples, so now we're dividing. When you divide fractions, you actually need to do the you have to flip the second fraction. So when you flip the second fraction, we're just reading from left to right. So in this case, the 7 over 10 is the second fraction. So you're still going to have negative 2 over 5. So that remains the same. Then you're going to be multiplying. So when you flip the fraction, you're also going to change the division sign into multiplication. So it'll be 10 over 7. And then from here, simply multiply as we did before, numerator by numerator, denominator by denominator. So this gives you negative 20 over 35. And then we can reduce this. If we divide the top and the bottom by 5, we should be able to get to negative 4 over 5. Oh, sorry, negative 4 over 7. Alright, and then for the next one, we have for b. So again, we have 4 minus 3. We do need to change this into a mixed fraction. So this is actually going to be 3 times 1 plus 2, so it's actually negative 5 over 3. So now when we flip it, it's 4 over negative 3 multiplied by, so now it's still negative over 5. Doesn't matter where the negative sign is because it still means the whole fraction is negative. Now we have two negative numbers multiplied by each other, which will give you a positive number, so that should be 12 over 15. And we can reduce this if you divide by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 15 divided by 3 is 5. And we can reduce it to 4 over 5.